This is the 190th Fighter Interceptor Squadron in Boise, Idaho Air National Guard at Gowan Field. These are people running out to their alert bird, the F-89B. They're going up to scramble after a bogey. The first person you saw in line was an ex-World War II night fighter person that flew in the Douglas A-20s converted, and they called them the P-70 as a night interceptor fighter guided by radar. And they come out to the end of the runway, taxi out, and then they take off those external guards because this thing is a real vacuum cleaner. Here is the alert bird taking off. It is low and slow and awful heavy. These pictures were taken from the back seat of an F-89B of the National Guard. That's my helmet that you see in the top of the canopy. And these are aircraft that are firing. There's 4 aircraft firing. Each aircraft has 6 20-millimeter rapid-fire cannons, and they are shooting at a rag, a sleeve that we're towing about 100 yards behind us. It's coupled into our left acceleron, for the cable is. And if you take a good look, this is an aircraft coming over the top of our canopy. There's our tip tank you saw with the stars. And they're coming over the top of the canopy and back up onto the perch. Then they come back down in, and they're firing. And if you look close, amongst all this debris here, you can see the smoke from the 20-millimeter cannons firing. And they're firing without radar observers in the back seat. They take their radar sight and they peg it mechanically at a specific distance, and that's the way they fire. And we hope that they don't hit us, the target. We were out on the... This is an F-89B taking off from Gowan Air National Guard Base. And it's, like I say, they're low and slow, and they're very heavy. You can get up to 50,000 pounds on 7,000-pound thrust engines times 2. So they were very stable, but they were very slow, and they were very hard to get off the ground. This is the very first C-130 I ever saw. This is a United Airliner DC-6 from taking off from Boise Air Terminal, which shared the runways with the Air National Guard at Gowan Field. Here's the 130 again, taking off. Like I say, it's the first 130 I ever saw. I'd been in the Air Force since 1953, and this is 1957. I got out of the Air Force, and I'd never seen a 130. I'd been flying out over the Atlantic Ocean as a navigator on C-124s. Here's a group of 4 fighters coming in. They're pitching out. They've been on the gunnery range. And the 4th aircraft is an ex-Navy guy who used to fly jets off the Midway, and he flew such a loose pitch that the tower operators knew who he was just by the way he took 2 states to turn around. This is the tow target, and here is the target, if you look closely, being towed behind the 2 aircraft. He opens the left deceleron, and it falls to the ground. Now I have transferred from the 190th Fighter Interceptor to the 46th Fighter Interceptor at Van Nuys, California, so I could go to school. And this is a California Air National Guard from Van Nuys C-47 coming into land at Gowan. We're coming in for our 2-week summer encampment where they're going to qualify all the jet jockeys with, here's our C-47 coming in on the gunnery range. We're up in the tower, and here come the F-86s. They're going to do high and low angle strafe and skip bombing. And you'll notice that we are above the airplanes as they come by. And in the tower, which is completely open, are other pilots which do evaluations of their scores and radio them back and carry a hard copy. Anyway, we're in the tower, which you climb up on a ladder. I'll show it to you in a minute. And this is guard qualification for the F-86. Later on, a couple of years later, they did the F-86Hs in the same place. And here's the other side. There was 2 approaches to the range. You could shoot a look out of either side of the tower. And you see these airplanes coming in right on the... Now, we're on the ground now. I'm standing on the ground. And in a moment, we're going to show you what the tower looks like. Here's more aircraft coming in. This is probably a high-angle strafe instead of low. Or it may be skip bombing. Yeah, it's skip bombing, excuse me. And here we have lots more fighters. I have an awful lot of footage with an awful lot of stuff that the company was supposed to have wiped off my film, didn't do it. These are fighters from fighter pilots from Van Nuys that are keeping track of the range. Down there on the ground, so some other guys. The guy with the wheel hat flew the C-47. More aircraft. More aircraft. There's the pilot, again, from the C-47 from Van Nuys, and here's some of the support people on the ground, and there's the tower. Wooden tower, open at the top, Guys up there with a handheld radio talking to people and just making range safety predominant. Again, from the ground, it flew over the C-47 as you saw. We can take off and land from here on the C-47, then go back to Gowan where they have hard surface runways. This is all dirt out here. F-86, we're taking off in the C-47 going back to Gowan. There you saw the tower go by. Going back to Gowan, you saw the targets on the ground there. And there's Larry, oh smiling Larry. Here we go, skipping back to the Air National Guard in Boise. And this is a single channel, hard tube Berkeley kit built by this pilot, you know, the air coupe. This is something to do with a mini Armed Forces Day at Gowan Field, and this is a F-104B, which was a trainer. They had two different models of the F-104 that had two seats. One was the B and one was the D, Baker and Dog. And they were coming in, and they did give some of our pilots a ride in the back seat. And here it is taxiing in. 104B, Lockheed, missile with a man in. For some reason, the exposure is not right here on the 102 that came in for static display. And back to the 104, and behind it the C-119. And we have some other aircraft, of course, on static display. Here we are in a low pass in an F-89B. Those are the mountains above north of Boise. I'm in the back seat as a radar observer. My brother Harlan is in the front seat as its pilot. He was a National Guard pilot. Over there is the terminal, Boise Air Terminal, which was United Airlines and West Coast Airlines.